Welcome to
Amen.
But Podcast. Two best friends, two mics, unpacking faith, queerness, love, and life after purity culture.
What up, bitch?
What a bad bitch.
I want to come in a little softer.
I know, last time was a little, and now we're chilling this week.
We're chilling today. It's very gloomy today, so I feel like it matches the mood. I don't know about you, but
It's pretty bright over here.
oh, it must be nice. In Florida, it's a little gloomy gloom. But
girl,
girl,
it's
how
cold
are...
over here, though.
Listen, yeah, you're right. I'm not gonna lie, I hate being cold, so. But girl, how are you?
Good. How are you? How was your Valentine's Day?
Oh my God, girl, it was so nice. So I told you I was taking her to Kappa. Dinner was bougie. Loved it. Like it was like a Spanish cuisine, so it was like a tapa style. So we got like a bunch of like appetizers, like had like a nice little steak. We shared it. Like it was like the food was so good. Oh my gosh, the pork belly, delicious. We did see some fireworks, but then like Kim, we were like, "Are you done?" And we went outside to watch it, and we were like, "Okay." Like it was just so crowded on the balcony, and it was like Epcot had theirs, and then you saw Magic Kingdom. Like it was like kind of far away, so you couldn't really see it like super well, but it was cute for a moment. And so it was really cute, and then we got super dressed up. It was super fancy, and then on actual Valentine's Day, Kim surprised me. So I told you I had to work. I worked until 9, and when I got home, the door was like cracked open. And I opened it, and the entire lights turned off. There was candles everywhere, rose petals everywhere, and her standing like in like our like little foyer with like a bouquet of flowers. I was like,
Girl, I'm tearing up. That's so beautiful.
and I was like, oh my God. And then she made me homemade carbonara pasta, like from scratch, like minus the noodles. She didn't like fucking like steal, but like the meat. Like, so like she doesn't hardly ever cook. So like y'all to understand, like she threw down in the kitchen. So she cooked for me, got me my favorite dessert, which is tiramisu. Like our tiramisu is like our thing. When we first started dating, like for some reason, like Italian was like the main cuisine that we ate together. And tiramisu is like our thing. So whenever we travel, like, we look for like the best tiramisu. And she went to like our one of the places that we loved. She went all the way to Maitland, which is like not out of her way, but out of her way to go to this restaurant called Antonio's to get the tiramisu. And she called them and she was like, "I need tiramisu," and they were almost sold out. And she got the last two.
God.
Yes. Girl, she was going in, and then like she bought me like some camo pants, she bought me a candle, and then some earplugs because my cats have been going feral and I had not been sleeping the best. So she got these like, I got the brand of it, but they're like in ear, like they like mold to your ear for helping me sleep. And so it was a really good night. It was so like tailored to me. I was like, oh my, it was so cute. Oh, and the best part, I forgot about it. Drew me a bath. Like I walked in and she was like, well, I finished cooking. Had a bath waiting for me with rose petals in it. A whole bath waiting. Yes.
Girl, let me take notes. What? That is
Yes.
beautiful. And I did shed a tear because I'm just so happy to see how loved you are, and somebody who knows you so well and treats you that well. That's tugging at my heartstrings. But
I
I'm so glad you guys had a
know.
great day. Because remember
Yes.
last week? You don't have to do Valentine's Day on the day. And you got spoiled on the day.
I did. I am so spoiled by Kimberly. It's absolutely insane. Like the way that she loves me is just so intentional, and I feel like it's so important to be intentional with like who you are with. And so it was just a beautiful night, and it was so good.
That's so sweet.
Yes. How was yours?
Ours was a little bit different. I mean, the good news is Olivia asked me to be her Valentine, so she got me this balloon.
Oh, cute.
The day of, though, remember how I told you we were gonna try and like make pasta?
Yeah.
So, well, initially, actually for Valentine's Day, she got me a magic bullet to do smoothies, and it was free. So we're still saving money there. And so we're like, oh, we'll go to Costco, we'll get some fruit, some yogurt for the smoothie stuff, and then we'll get some other stuff to make the pasta, like stuff for the recipe and stuff. Well, Costco was a madhouse.
Well, it's the
And
weekend, girl. It's Costco.
we were so overstimulated. It really took half the day to recover
Oh
from
my
bumping
God.
into people and like trying to find just frozen fruit because it wasn't our normal Costco. Because we're like, let's go to the other one. No, never again.
You went to one that you haven't gone to before.
Yes, it was. We're not doing it again. But then to get the ingredients, we had to go to like multiple stores. We finally get home. We're exhausted. And then I was like, yeah, time to make the pasta. And then the first batch failed. I did not get the eggs going in there the way I should have. Now we're looking at it's 9 p.m. Haven't started the chicken
What?
parm. Haven't started the noodles. Like I had the noodle, like the dough, but it had to sit for 30 minutes. Then you cut it and then you have it sit for another 30 minutes.
Oh my
So
God.
we ended up throwing that out and we did the box noodles. But it was absolutely delicious. The chicken parm was crispy, whatever that recipe was I got online. And we did like a Cajun pasta instead of like
Ooh.
marinara. And it was really good. We did have a wonderful night. She made me banana pudding, still in the fridge.
Did it hit?
And I'd say, oh, 10 out of 10. Because she
Period.
didn't use like the box pudding. One thing about Olivia,
Oh.
she's going to do it from scratch. I'm surprised. The only thing she didn't do from scratch was like the vanilla wafers.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's kind of
She
hard to
bought
do.
those. I mean, I wouldn't put it past her though. She always wants the most complicated recipes in grams. Takes for 4 hours, but she made her own banana pudding, and I was like, "Is it gonna be yellow?" And she was complaining to me. She was like, "Don't you care about the flavor? What does it matter if it's yellow?"
Not your
And I
ass.
was
Like,
like,
I wanted to be yellow.
"Well, it was yellow. It was."
Okay.
So it was like the egg yolks or something that made it yellow, but
Interesting.
absolutely delish. Absolutely delish. So we had a wild day, but once we sat down for dinner, it was delicious. We had a beautiful night, but it was kind of wild. And no, I did not make pasta.
Let's dive into the real tea of like why we watch this YouTube
Mm,
video.
yes.
I think in every journey of a Christian, there's a significant moment. It's the moment that you are saved, that you accept Jesus into your life, and then another moment when you leave the church.
Mm,
And those two moments are very, very important. And I feel it is very important that we share those moments because again, like I know that my story is so vastly different from your story, and I know there are a lot of people out there who may relate to either one of us. And I feel like there's maybe a misconception too of why we both left the church. You know, like
mm-hmm,
we've never really like instead of talking to like each other and like here and there, whatever, even our partners too. Like I don't think they have really even heard like the truth of like, okay, like obviously like how we became saved and like why we left. And it was an important impact of our lives of why we chose to do what we did. Because there are both choices. The
mm-hmm,
acceptance and the leaving was a choice.
mm-hmm.
And so I feel it's important that we dive into. It's gonna get spicy.
Oh, it is, girl, because what a wild time in both of our lives.
Oh my god. I might cry, and it's okay because I feel like it's
Mhm.
okay. It's okay because this was a very, like, an emotional moment in our lives. Um,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna let you go first because I feel like I need to, hearing you will give me the courage to tell mine.
I hope so, girl. I hope so. Well, I feel like I want to give context to like how I was raised and like who I was leading up to like finishing internship and stuff like that. But I was always raised in the church, excuse me. And so that was something I always knew, right? But I was kind of a different kind of girl in the church. I was different than all the other girlies because I just remember that specific verse of like wives have to submit to their husbands. I just remember that never sat well with me because I just wasn't raised to be submissive. Like I was always raised to stand up for what I believe in and what I thought was right. And so that I was like, you are telling me my whole life, sometimes boys take longer to smarten up, they take longer to mature, but yet I have to submit to them at some point. It's just not hitting. And then obviously that's because of my queerness at the end of the day. But that was something that was always, it always felt off to me. And eventually I graduated high school and I felt like I could have gone away to college, but I wanted to stay close and do internship because my mindset was I had really been struggling with like having feelings for girls. And my mindset was if I dedicate my life to Christ and I do ministry, that yes, I'll struggle with it, but just not to the extent, right? Like I just have to hone in on this. All my focus, all my time, all my effort needs to be on ministry and on God. And that way, maybe I won't struggle anymore. Like maybe this won't be a thing. And so once we graduated internship, I remember my dad telling me, because I kind of like dropped out of college to focus on internship and he didn't like that. And so I remember him telling me the next phase of your life is I think you should move to Minnesota with your brother and help him with his ministry and you can focus on school and you'll be away from friends and every distraction here. And so I had no plan. So I was like, oh, okay, like good idea. So I uproot, I moved to Minnesota for about a year. And I don't know if I've ever told you this. Um, it was a really dark time in my life specifically because I feel like it was the first time I wasn't busy doing things, going out, like doing ministry, or when I was in sports in high school, I was just left alone with my thoughts. And that took a toll on me. Like, I remember really just getting into these lows of like depression and not being able to get out of bed. So I was not doing hot in school. I was not really showing up. And I remember feeling like I can't have this keep going on. Like, we're coming up on a year. Like, my parents are going to find out I've not been going to class. I need to do something. So I got a job at the local Dairy Queen, which hot commodity at that job, which I'll tell you about my time there. That was crazy. But after that, I had found this job of like becoming a motivational speaker, but it was traveling for like 10 months. And I was like, oh, I'll do this and be like, look, I dropped out of college again, but here is this really cool job that nobody else has ever had. Isn't that great? No, it did not go over well. But I still did it. And then I was busy, but I still was feeling like just struggling with my spirituality, struggling with my relationship with God because I just felt I was going through it. Who was I? Like why was things not lining up they were supposed to? Why is this grandiose life I'm supposed to have serving God not living up to my expectations? And so after I did that for a year, that's when I moved back to Orlando and lived with my parents, and I just didn't go to church. And I remember reaching out to you in our friend group to try and get like my friendships back. I've been gone for so long, and I just felt really left out of a lot of things because I remember you guys would talk about things that were going on in church, and I just wasn't there, but I knew I didn't want to be there. I don't think it was because I felt like I was so sinful because I really hadn't been doing anything that was sinful besides like not praying and like just like bad thoughts or whatever, or like thoughts of like homosexuality or whatever. But I just remember feeling like I've just grown up. And I know that sounds kind of harsh. I don't mean to be like rude. Like if you're still in church and you're still serving God, that's not what I mean. I mean, for me, I associated like my childhood with my religion, and I just felt like my morals and how and my opinions on the world were different than what I was being told. So then when I finally moved to Tampa and I got that job and there was more distance in you and I's friendship, I kind of was like, I'm cutting ties with everybody in the church, with my friend group. I just want to start fresh in Tampa. I have this job and we'll go from there. Now, this is where the coming out starts happening because I felt like because I had that financial independence, my Thea and Theo that I was living with were not pressuring me to go to church, pressuring me about my relationship with God, all this stuff. I felt like I could just be me. Like I could take a breath and like really feel what I wanted to feel and what I wanted to do and have the space to explore that. Coming to terms with my spirituality came first, and then coming to terms with my sexuality came second. And I feel like for me, that was the only logical way I could kind of do it. And then I know for some people, it happens at the same time,
Yeah.
or their sexuality comes first and then they try and weave God into it somehow. And there are churches that are very accepting. And if we really get into like biblical translations and stuff, I think it does make sense to me. But that was just my journey and my transition. And then it came more immersing myself into the community of the LGBT community to be more accepting of myself. And then now I'm in this place that's really great, that's really awesome. And then I get a phone call from old girl saying, I get a text actually, can I call you? Are you available tomorrow? And that's where I'll leave off so that you can jump in.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I mean, I'm really, really happy that you pointed out something because it's definitely resonates with me a lot is similar. I had to deal with my spiritual self before I ever could deal with the like my sexuality.
Mm,
And the journey of why I left and how I left, I think embodies that statement.
mm,
110%. Because contrary to what people believe, I did not leave the church because I wanted to come out. Like, that was probably the furthest thing from my mind. I left the church because number one, um, the church was incredibly, this is a very disgusting behavior towards my brother and treated
mm,
him with such disrespect. And my brother is the most important person in my life. And the way they treated him is unforgivable. And the second reason why I left my church is because I did not feel safe or protected as a Black woman in that church. That is why I left. And there was a series of events that happened to where I got there. But again, like I started going to church in the 7th grade, and I went through the middle school ministry, went through the high school ministry, went through the college ministry. So like as I aged, I went through every realm of ministry, and like I tended faithfully. I tithed, like after high school, like I was like, I think I have a calling to be a minister. I remember sitting in like the church pew and being like, God, what is my purpose? Like, what do I do with my life? And like, I truly felt like ministry was what God had for me, And so I was content on doing that. And it was a journey to like, to pursue that because when I was 18, my mom had lost her job. And so she got a new job in North Carolina. So she was leaving. Nick was still a senior in high school. We're only like 7 months apart. So I had just graduated. Nick was a senior, and like Nick didn't want to leave, and I didn't want to leave. So my mom was like, "Well, I'm leaving because I got a new job. So I'm going up there." And me and Nick were kind of like, "I don't want to go." So it was a weird time, and so we had no place to live. So my mom's the house she had, like she was like getting rid of it because she couldn't pay up more on it, and so we're kind of like squatting in our own house, which is kind of crazy. Like no
Mm-hmm.
furniture, like air mattresses and shit, like slowly squatting in our childhood home with no furniture in there. And then the church found a family to take us in rent free.
Wow.
And I was like, maybe it's a sign that God wants us to be here. So like the family let us stay there rent free. Like they fed us, like, and whatever, obviously we had jobs, like, like I worked at Chick-fil-A at the time, went with Dixie. So like, but like the church had given so much to us at that point,
Mm.
like they were our family. Like I grew up in a broken home, parents are divorced. So like you have to imagine like from having nothing at home and like being in that environment, they were willing to open the doors for us. And so like for years, whatever, like to be coveted and to be loved by these people, and then at the end, it just being like just like not stripped away, but just the mistreatment. It was just absolutely insane. And so fast forward, I intern, I graduate, I became a minister, all that stuff, whatever. And I've always felt that there were some things the church did that I did not sit well with. Like, similar to you. Like, I remember sitting in sermons and I'm listening to these preachers and I'm just like, I don't know about that. Like, I'm like, that's like people out here on the floor, like, spiraling like a fucking snake and shit. Like, that was real. I saw a girl do that shit. I saw a girl, like,
Wait, can I have some follow up? Were her arms to her side and she was like shimmying, or was she
yes.
using her arms?
I know. Her arms were like this. And she was like on the ground. And I was like, what the hell is going on? She was like possessed or something. And people were like
Yeah, I'm
praying
sure.
her.
Yeah, I'm sure.
People were praying around her, and then miraculously she like came to, and I'm like, 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 and then like you hear these people on the pulpit talk about just like, show me your friends, show me your future. Like
Mm.
who you hang out with is a representation of how your future is going to be like. And so like I was like, oh, I guess I need to cut out my friends. You don't go to my church. Sorry. Like that's the like those are things that people would say like, on a pulpit and then be like, and it's very just like you need to be not a part of the world, like, and all of this crazy stuff. So like I took everything that every pastor said to heart because I wanted to
Mhm.
be like, I wanted to honor God and everything that I did. Like when I became a leader, and you remember this too, when we signed that contract, the contract to be a leader at this specific church, right,
Mhm.
could not watch a rated R movie unless it was The Passion of the Christ. You
Mhm.
couldn't drink alcohol, like, which like okay, whatever, like whatever.
Mhm.
And there's like, and then there was like, just like those are the two ones that kind of like stuck out. There's other things like the contract. I was just like, okay, girl, but like, people were still watching radar movies, and people on staff would still drink.
What I tell you? I said, "Okay, but I'm watching my movies."
Right? Like, what the heck? So like, it was a lot of things there. I always was like raise my eyebrow on, you know. Like I remember one
Mhm.
time during the service, there's a girl in a wheelchair. Like she was born like paraplegic. I believe is the correct term. Um,
Mhm.
she was born that way, and they brought her on stage in front of,
Mhm.
at this point the ministry's like 500 plus people, whatever. They brought her off stage, and they had like all the people praying for her, whatever. The guest speaker was like, "Bring her up here," and I'm like, "Oh my God, don't do this!
Don't do
Don't
it.
don't do this!" And you have these kids, like middle school or high schoolers, like crying and having their hands towards her to get her to walk, and they prayed for over 30 minutes, and she did not walk. Like, and I don't believe it's because they didn't believe enough. I don't believe because God isn't real. Like, I just believe that, like, obviously, whatever, her being a paraplegic is not her fault. Like, I don't think anyone's fault for, like, she was born that way. It's a condition. And I feel like she's beautifully made how she is. Like, I don't think that there's anything that you need to change about her. Like, ever. Like, she's lived that her entire life. And even she was sitting in the wheelchair, like, it's over yet? Like, because she didn't want to be up there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, she came to terms with this. And like, it was just like, I remember just staring at this, and I was like, this is so weird. Like, why do we have this girl up there? And
That
it went on and on for 35 minutes. And I was
that
like,
that poor girl, because, like, at one point, are you kind of, like, embarrassed, you
it's a
know?
spectacle.
Yes, like, you're trying to use me, and it's not doing what you want it to do,
It's
and now
not.
you have to pivot.
It's just weird. And so, like, those are those little moments that I can just think on top of my head that I was just like, and I have my own internal, like, what I believe like God is in my life. And
Mm,
I was struggling with that. And so I want to say, and it was hard too because like I was trying to be on staff, and like I was applying to church after church, and I got rejection after rejection. And even the church that I served, they didn't hire me. And like, I don't know how I got bitter for a while, but I wasn't bitter at church. I was bitter at God. I'm like, why would you call me to ministry and I'm not doing it? But then I was like, you know what, Nicole, like you are doing ministry. Like obviously, like there are
mhm,
people who like to work a full-time job, but still are ministers. You don't need a title for that. So that was
mm.
something that I had to really like rationalize too. But again, like in the back of my mind, I was just still like struggling with that and trying to find the inner piece of them in myself. And so it was probably toward like 2019, 2020. I was serving under the middle school ministry. And this is when like the things about my brother started becoming like an issue. So my brother is, um, he's always been flamboyant. That's just who he is. Like he played with Barbies, like as a kid. Like he wore like shiny sequin outfits, like whatever. Like he just loved fashion. He loved, Project Runway. American Top Model. He loves fashion. Like he's very into that, and so it's always been his mo. Like he's a very creative, theatrical person, and so like that exudes in who he is as a person. Ever like obviously he loves God, and he loves theater. Like, and I believe, like, I feel like the church found him as threatening because, again, like, he was just very sure of himself and sure of what he wanted to show, how creative and what he wanted to wear. So I know there are certain times where like people would be like, "Why is your brother wearing a head wrap? Like he needs to take it off." And I'm just like, and I'm like, "Am I embarrassed my brother?" Like, I remember looking at him one day. I'm like, "Oh my god, maybe you should take it off." And I'm like, it was just like weird like things of that nature or whatever and stuff. And then I remember like the biggest like the straw that happened was like
Mm.
one of my friends is on staff and he told me that one of the pastors brought it up and they're like, "Can we talk about Nick and about the things that he wears? And do you think that this is a good impression on students? Like, should men be wearing that? Whatever, it can get off about wrong an impression." And I remember my friend telling me that, and I asked them, I was like, "Did you defend him? Did you speak up and did you say anything? Did you know in a room full of ministers who've known this man since he was in the 8th grade, 7th grade, that no one stood up to him except for one person who isn't even they weren't even friends. He didn't really care for the individual." And I remember they were like, "Well, that's just who he is. Like, he's harmless. Like, that's just how he is. Like he's a man of God. Like, he just dresses that way."
Mhm.
And they pulled him aside and had a conversation about the things that he wears. I was appalled that grown men and women in ministry felt threatened by an individual because of what they wear. That
Who had been wearing this for years. This is
right.
not something new. This is not like one outfit out of everything. This went too far. This was his MO. He
Right. He
was
wasn't
always dressing like this, and he'd been an amazing leader and done so much for the church that it's crazy that they're even having this conversation, period.
right. He's not wearing booty shorts. Like, my brother to me is the closest to Jesus personified. He is the nicest, humble, like selfish person that I know in my life. And
Mhm.
he devoted his life to ministry, devoted life to help people who couldn't help themselves, who would stay up till 2, 3 in the morning, like counseling people, get like buying them food. Like, he was literally there for kids who didn't have homes on their own. And we would open our doors to kids who had nowhere else to be, people who were being abused, people who were being beat. And my brother, the entire time while he's under that ministry, he didn't curse once. He didn't drink. He didn't curse, drink, fondle, touch to anybody while he was there. And it made me sick to my stomach that I was underneath these people who would think that he would like, and no one stood up to him. No one told this pastor, like, separate the one person, but like at that point, whenever like quote unquote who were they, but he was the head of the youth ministry at the time, so like obviously it's his ministry, obviously he's gonna like say something, whatever, but like no one like came to his defense. And
Mhm.
so that's why I already had this like fire in my spirit of like just disappointment
Mhm.
of it. And then it just got even worse because then when the murder of George Floyd happened, it broke me as a black woman, and our church's response to it was awful. And I remember our senior pastor during his sermon and like hearing the words that he said, like, and like he wasn't condemning what the police officer did and inciting that, he could have had wrongdoing. And I'm like, no one should be murdered on the streets by any cop and being detained. Like, that's as like due process is here for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember when he had that sermon, I didn't have the words to formulate how like it affected me. And so I remember there was a guy who used to go to our church, and on Instagram he posted something on his story. And I found it. I'm gonna read it because
You found it?
I found it. I found the repost because this sets up to the chain of events of also what happened. So on the post, which I reposted it on my personal Instagram, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not on staff at the church. This is my own personal account that I was sharing how I felt. So I didn't have the words to formulate how I felt. And I reposted, it says, Christians, we gotta do better. This statement dismisses racism, minimizes the murder, shames people for being angry, disassociates itself from the movement, makes assumptions about a man it knows nothing about, and inaccurately tries to use Dr. King's methods to justify frowning upon the very thing that establishes this country and founded a lot of the freedoms we have here. If this is the direction you are going, just please don't say anything. Evangelical Christians, talk to Black people. Understand before you speak on what's wrong or right. And underneath the caption was the video in the pastor of his sermon. And I reposted it because that's exactly how I felt. This man is a senior pastor, he's a white man, and I don't think he talked to anybody of color before saying what he said. We shouldn't be angry. And the Black Lives Movement, he had tied it to a movement instead of what the phrase is Black Lives Matter, because they're the ones who are literally being murdered on the street. So I reposted this post on my Instagram. Again, I am not on staff. This is my personal page. The pastor that I served under at the time, who is a Black man, texted me and told me, you need to take down that post off your Instagram. He said, you need to take it down. I was at work and I texted my brother, Nick, and I was like, and Nick at this point had left.
Good for him.
He had stopped going because of all that shit. And I was still going at the time. And I was so upset. I was like, how dare somebody tell me to say something? And then he said in the text, he was like, you're a leader. Like, what if your student saw what you post? And I didn't respond because I didn't have the words to formulate a thought. A story lasts 24 hours. I let it last 24 hours. I remember, I think a day or two later, I was at church and he pulled me to the side and he was like, you know, like, you should have like made an appointment and pulled him in aside and told him like how you felt. A Black man telling me this. You deadass! He literally was like,
you got a problem? Do it behind closed doors. That's exactly what it is.
That's the problem. It's like, I am so happy my students, I'll be like, I know that you can have an original thought. You are your own person. I don't work for the people. I'm a volunteer. And they got so much backlash from that sermon. Like, their Instagram got, like, they had to literally turn off the comments off because how many people were complaining and how many people were showing outrage at that sermon or whatever. And I remember when he pulled me to the side, he was like, he's older, he's white, like, he didn't know any better. And, he doesn't really have any PR training. I'm like, I told him, like, it isn't about PR training. It's about being a decent human being as a pastor. When things happen like this in the world, as a Black person, I want to know that I'm being acknowledged, I'm being seen, I'm being heard. And we were not being seen, we're not being heard. We're
Mhm.
not. And so it was a whole big deal. And so the following Sunday, they canceled middle school service and they made all of us watch the main service. And this is a moment that they got me. I remember sitting in the youth sanctuary in the balcony by myself, and the senior pastor addresses, it wasn't really an apology. It was more so, I don't even know how to explain what it was. It was more of like, I'm not racist. We're not racist. And they brought the only black pastor on staff, which is the man that I stood under at the time. He wore a whole suit. I remember it so vividly. I was sitting on the sanctuary. He brought him on stage. He had him sit on this chair, and he talked about Jesus is washing his disciples' feet. And he took off these man's shoes and he washed this black man's foot. And if many people know the Bible, if you don't, in the Bible, I think it's in John, Jesus is washing his disciples' foot because he's preparing for, he's about to die. Like, he's about to be crucified, right?
Mhm.
And so, like, they're literally in the upper room, and the disciples are just like, "Well, dude, like, why I'm not worthy? Why wash my feet for?" He's no, like, whatever. So the symbolization of what Pastor, the white man, was trying to do was to demonstrate that me or you are equal. I'm not I'm not greater than you or lesser than you. So I'm going to demonstrate that I'm washing your feet to show that it does not matter if you're black, white, da 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 da.
It's so performative, and the way this church constantly uses minorities to prove something or just uses them for their own agenda has never sat right with me.
And I remember watching it. I was like literally by myself and I was weeping. I was so upset because I was like, this isn't the point. This isn't an apology.
Mhm.
This is a spectacle to show we're not racist. And again, I don't think that senior pastor was racist. I never said that, never thought it. I believe that he minced his words in a wrong way and did not think hard enough the repercussions of a time where your church is predominantly people of color, and did not think before speaking. And as a black person, all I wanted him to say is Black Lives Matter.
Mm.
Like, black people matter.
Mhm.
But they couldn't say that. They couldn't say those three words because they equate that to a movement that someone trademarked and monetized and made it into an organization. And in that moment, I was done.
Mm.
I was done. I was like, it was so performative. And I remember I was so angry because I was just like, this is not what church is supposed to be. Like, it hurt deep, it hurt so bad. And then my dumbass said yes that same day, that same night. They had asked me to be on a panel to have an emergency youth service that Sunday night. They asked me, that same pastor, and two other black people who were predominantly popular in the church to do a panel of what it means to be black in America. And I sat there with those three other people. And I don't even know why I said yes. I think maybe I said yes because I was just like, I wanted people to understand, like, being black in America is hard. Like,
Mhm.
it's hard. And people don't understand that because they're not in your shoes. And I felt
Mhm.
it was important to share my story. And I remember even the other people who were Black up there, they also couldn't. They kept saying all lives matter. Yes.
That's crazy. That's
And
crazy.
that was the last time that I set foot in that building. Because I felt like I was being pimped out by the church. Like they were like, and I was just being thrown into everything. Oh, we need somebody who's struggling with being gay. Oh, get Nicole. Uh, we need somebody who's funny and who could be a clown. Get Nicole.
Mhm.
Oh, we need to do a funny skit. Somebody who can fit the demographic of being an old Black lady. Get Nicole. I was being, and it took me almost 20 years to really, really understand that I was being used and abused in ways that it wasn't, you know, physical, but it was emotionally and it was spiritually.
Mhm.
And that's why I left. My my queerness came way later. I had to
Mhm.
deal with my own, and that was during COVID too. So like right after that, whatever, like COVID happened, and I was more alone than I ever was. I was living by myself at that point, and I was such in a just depressed. So I didn't know who I was without the church. Like I was not like I was not busy. I was I'm having panic attacks. Remember, I was driving to work. I literally had to call my manager to be like, I can't even come into work right now. I had to pull over. The first time I've ever had a panic attack, I found myself. I almost had to call 911. I didn't know. I didn't know what this feeling was,
Mhm.
and it was a time where I was trying to figure out who I was as an individual, as a Christian, and then like at church, and it was a transformation of understanding that like I truly did not love myself for a very, very, very long time. And it took me from leaving to figure that out.
Mhm.
And I always think about, what if Pastor had said those 3 words, would I still be there? Because I was willing to suppress my queerness and my gayness for that. To be unhappy, to pursue something bigger than myself. And everything happens for a reason. I'm happy that he didn't. Because I feel like if I would have stayed there, I probably wouldn't be here.
I'm glad he didn't, because now we get to be friends again. I'm so glad he didn't.
Girl, me too. I need to get out. I need to get the hell out of there. Oh my
Mhm.
God. But that's why I left. And I have never been more happier and more secure in who I am. And months later, I dealt with being like, okay, Nicole, are you gay or not? Because, girl, like, you need to figure that shit out. Because you gotta figure it out. And I literally was like, okay, Nicole, like, and
Yeah. That you did that. You did
I
that.
know, and unintentionally. Oh my God. But man, I brought up a lot of feelings,
Mm.
but I am happy now more than I have been. And I thank God every day that I'm here. I thank God every day that I had the strength to leave and not tolerate that anymore. And sometimes we tolerate so much until we get pushed out the door. Like, there are so many no's that have happened in my life and so many rejections, and I really do every rejection is a redirection.
Mm.
It brought me to where I am right now. And I'm so happy now. Like, it's absolutely insane what it means to be free, to live to have this stillness and this peaceness and whatever. And like, I am very much, I know Alyssa isn't more so, but I still love God. Like, I listen to worship music all the time. Like, I pray. Like, girl, I was listening to, what's that song I heard the other day? Hold on, let me play it for you real quick. Hold on. It won't be Oceans. I know it's not. I know you hate that song.
Ocean's too triggering.
It's not Oceans, girl. I know I was triggering for you, but I was playing. Oh my god, this is
Okay,
my
because
song.
Oceans would always be, that was the song I would play to pray that God would take this homosexuality away from me. So, hours of listening to Oceans, and here we are.
Right. Oh my god. Oh my. I think it's Peace by. Oh my god. I think is this one?
By who?
You will stay true
What is this?
It's Peace by Hillsong.
when the lies come.
What album is this?
This is the acoustic version.
Your word remains.
I'm like looking it up. Okay,
my-
so it's Young and Free. It was on Young
Yeah.
and Free.
That's my song. Whew, child. Like, so.
Not you playing it.
That is why I'm so happy that we have this space to do this, you and I, because
Mhm.
our stories are so vastly different, but I feel like it is for everyone. And
Mhm.
like, and I want to say this too, like, if you are somebody in church, out of church, or you're just like, I don't really do any of that. I'm just trying to figure out who I am as an individual. Like, there's never a time for you to figure it out,
Mm.
you know? And if anyone has ever told you that you're not loved because who you are as a core human being, whatever, I need you to dish that out, because like, I'm a firm believer that God loves me. Like, he looks out for me and he is fighting for me. And on the contrary to what the church says, that's what he does for me every single day. And I am with a beautiful woman. And I don't care what anyone says, regardless, and what the Bible says. And like, yes, there's different contexts that have been changed in and out, whatever, and all. And I read the Bible forward and backward, and so I'm not here to
Mm.
say you're not wrong, right? But I am here to say that, like, who you are and who you love does not dictate whether or not you will love or not.
Amen.
But
But
sometimes,
you know.
But yeah. you know. But Alyssa, I love you so much. Oh my gosh, like, I'm just so thankful for you, and like, your story and who you are as an individual and how you got here is just so beautiful. And like I said last week, whatever, like, people need to hear your voice, because man,
Mm.
like, you got a lot of love to share, experience to share, and I love you so much.
I love you too, man. I do. And I feel like your story is so relatable, because I feel like that started a whole wave of specifically millennials leaving the church, because pastors did not know how to address this. And in my opinion, systemically, when you have a church and your whole demographic is minorities, but the people under you and your staff and the people who serve you are all white, you are not going to be able to relate to your demographic ever. And that's why the pastor had to spend 2 services, one, saying how he really felt, and then 2, being like, oh, wait, I didn't mean it the way you thought I meant it. Let me try and do this nice thing and perform for you so
Mhm.
that you don't think about what I said last week, because I got a
Right.
lot of backlash for that.
Right. And I will say this too, like there are so many good churches out there, and like I've been to a few in the area where I live now, and like there's a church there for everybody, and
Mhm.
I know people who still go to that church who like are, I wouldn't say friends, but we're cordial, on
Mhm.
socials, and like if you still go there and if you know what we're referring to, like I'm not saying to stop. This is my experience. Like
Mm.
I
This is
am.
what. Get out, girl. Get out. Don't waste your time.
I am crying. But to each their own. To each their own.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I don't want people to think that I'm hating on them, because I have no hate in my heart for anybody there.
Mm.
Like I don't hate anybody. Like I have no hate in my heart at all. Like what is done is done. Like I have moved
Mhm.
on.
Mhm.
All I hope and pray is that I hope they got better over these past couple years. Like I truly do hope that. Like I truly
Mm.
do hope that there are brown and black boys who go there who feel valued and loved and cared for and don't feel like tropes. Like I truly hope so, because I don't want that for anybody.
Yeah.
Like, and no one should ever be treated that way. And I really hope that like that whoever's running it now like sees the value of stepping up and like condemning racism and says it publicly and denounces it. And if your church does not do that, I'm sorry, but this is me saying you need to leave. And this is any church. If your church does not publicly denounce or call out racism in your church, that is not the place to be. And if you don't know where your church stands, if you have to question it, then you need to leave that church. If your church tiptoes around it and doesn't talk about it, you need to go and ask them about it. I'm dead ass. I wish that I did that shit. So I was just like, oh yeah, they're not. But the microaggressions were there. They were.
Yeah, I feel like I always knew they were, just being on the back end of like being a pastor's kid. I just knew there was, whether it was flat out racism, but it was definitely ignorance. And it was intentional ignorance, right? Like,
Mm,
we're not going to surround ourselves with black people and know their stories and know what they've been through. More so, we'll hide behind this because how we really feel is a more different political stance. And I feel like for a lot of people, the church responding to George Floyd was their tipping point as well. Because
mhm,
before anything, I feel like everyone is what their race is, right? Like, before
mhm,
anything, I'm white. Before anything, you're black. And so you can only do so much, you can only be so much. But personally, for me, mine was Trayvon Martin, because I remember when he passed, he's my age. He was my age. And I remember speaking to somebody in the church kind of like higher up. I don't think I was at our church at that point, or maybe I was. And they were saying, well, he shouldn't have been out past 10 p.m. And I remember thinking, I'm 17 years old and I've been out past 10 p.m.
right.
And he was just getting Skittles and Sprite. So wait a second. And that was
Right.
the turning point for me, where I was like, morally, we don't align on this. And I was thinking that was just their failing, not God's, right?
Mhm.
It's just because it's a white church.
Right.
But what was shocking for me at that point was, I don't know if you remember this, white people inviting black people over for dinner
Oh
to
my
like
god.
learn their stories. And like, I remember thinking, how do you not know if they're your black friend? How do you not
Child,
know these things?
child, it baffles me. I told you at the time before, at the old property at the church, I was there like late at night when for God knows what reason. I can't remember. It was after 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And this cop came up to my car, gun drawn, and asked why I was there. Yes.
No, you did not tell me that.
Dude, I was like 19, 20, and I was by like the old gym, right? And I don't know, I don't even know why I was doing something. It was
Mm-hmm.
either a practice or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why I would be there past 9 o'clock is for like a practice or something,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Yeah.
And he literally pulled up, got out, guns blazing, and was like, "What are you doing out here?" I'm like, I have my, I go here. Like I was like at practice. It was like people sell drugs out here, and I'm like, I don't do drugs. Like, I was like, I was 19, 20 years old on church property, and I was like, it's absolutely insane.
Okay, the old property too is not even as big as the new one. So where were you parked?
I was literally
Like-
in from the gym, like where the gym is. I was literally outside of there.
And they sell drugs? I don't think so, sir.
I'm like, excuse me, like I think it was terrifying,
Oh my
terrifying.
God.
And I don't think I really shared that story before. I kind of blocked it out. That shit was kind of crazy. But I was like, absolutely insane.
When did he put his gun away?
I think after he asked me like, what my name was, whenever I gave him my license and shit. I mean, it's when he put it away, but he was like already drawn out. Like, what the fuck? Like, why would that be your first instinct to have your gun drawn out? I just don't
Well,
understand.
you know why. You know why.
Well, listen. Newsflash, you're black. It's not funny, but sometimes you have to laugh through the pain.
Yeah, sorry for laughing. It's not funny.
And people are like, wow, what an asshole. Like, why is she laughing at you? Like,
So
Sam
sorry. So sorry.
sometimes laughter is the best medicine to push through the pain.
But I will say there were times that when we were hanging out, people would do microaggressions from like to you guys, and you guys would hide it from me. Do you remember?
Like what?
Like, okay, remember when we were Disney adults and we would go and get like pass holder magnets and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
And we were in line, and so we do our little thing and our magic bands or whatever, and they'd give us the magnet and we'd go. And I was always like, I remember being the first one, and I cleared out and we got outside, and I remember hearing you guys being like, good thing Alyssa didn't hear. And I remember being like, here, what?
Oh
What
my
happened?
God. Bro,
Do you remember?
because she didn't believe that it worked to wear any pass holders. I was like, she literally had literally was like me, you, and like
Mhm.
two other friends, whatever, and they were like, Liz is the only white person in the group at this point, and we were all of
Mhm.
color, and they literally were like, give it pass. I'm like, yeah, I'm a band right here. Like, listen, during that time, my bills were not paid. I had no food in my house. I had no gas in the tank. But you know what was paid? My Disney pass.
Yeah, absolutely. That was what we did. That was how we hung out.
That's how we hung out.
And the other time where they're reading our names, and do you remember when it got to our black friend that the cast worker was like, oh, this name is easy. I thought it was gonna be hard. Do you remember that?
Yes.
You also hit that for me too.
Yes. Because I was like, girl, like his name isn't that hard to pronounce. It's not like, come on. Like my name is Nicole Stallworth, and people still can't get that right. It's literally the word stall and worth combined together.
The point is though, you guys would hide this from me, and I
Because-
never got to say anything or go
Because-
off.
Thing is, and Kim is better than I am, because Kim will call out the shit. some guy was like, I remember one guy was like following her, security guy. He goes, and she was like, "Is there a problem?" She's like, "You want see my bag? Do you want to see what I bought?" Like, she will call it out. Me, I'm like, "Oh, here's my receipt, sir." Like, I need to get better at that because microaggressions are so they're. I think that's why I'm so like I don't like. Sometimes I'm just like I don't want to make a fuss about it, but sometimes it's important to make a fuss about it because it makes them look stupid for questioning that I don't belong in this space. So you know what? I am going to do that for next time. Like, the next time that I get a medical thing, I'm like, excuse me, I have a right to be here as much as you do. Okay? And I'm going to show you my damn receipt. This is
Absolutely.
Costco, yes, you got to show your receipt.
Oh, yeah, because we're not giving up that membership.
Right. Costco, they will, you can have my social security card.
Whatever you need for that pizza.
Whatever you need for that pizza. Costco, I'll give you everything, okay? Like, I look at you like, strip naked, dog. All right? Costco gets it all.
What?
Not strip naked. You know what I meant.
It sounds like you're volunteering.
No. To be strip shirts? No. At a Costco. It had never been that serious. Even though I do love Costco. But as we have close, the one thing I want to take away from this is
get out. Get out. That's my takeaway.
Oh my god.
Life's better on the outside.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even You're not wrong. But it has been a pleasure this week. I love you so much. As always, this is Nicole.
And this has been Alyssa.
Bye-bye now.
Thanks for listening to Amen But Podcast. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts from or watch us on our YouTube channel. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks for listening. We post new episodes every other Friday.